The anti-Trump, anti-ICE protests, riots really, have spread to other blue cities. Let's have a look at what's happening in San Francisco. Yep, the violent protests are spreading to Democrat strongholds like San Francisco, New York, Chicago, and even south to Atlanta.
Hold on. Stop. Over there. Hammer again. Holy
Yes, Atlanta is a blue city. Georgia may be red, but Atlanta is not. Some of the violence we're seeing in LA with the use of fireworks to target police and even police horses is extremely dangerous, life-threatening. Let's bring in international security expert Max Abrams. Max, some of the violence we're seeing seems opportunistic. Some of it, though, seems very much organised. You are an international security professor, an expert on terrorism. Do you consider some of this violence as acts of domestic terrorism?
I think it is. There's obviously a reluctance by the left to describe this kind of violence as terrorism because terrorism is only done for ideologies that the left doesn't like. But the definition of terrorism certainly could include left-wing political violence. The standard definition that we use is a non-state actor, so we're not talking about a government, who uses violence against a civilian target for political aim. And it's always useful to keep that definition in mind when trying to determine whether we're looking at terrorism. I think that some of this violence certainly looks a lot like terrorism. I think that increasingly the violence is going to be indiscriminate. It's not going to be just directed against ICE or federal buildings or police forces and police cars. I think that these perpetrators pose a genuine danger to the public broadly. They're going to be increasingly setting cars on fire and probably looting stores indiscriminately, anything they can get into, attacking shops. And the reason is that these guys are simply united by anti-American sentiment. So there might be some nuances in terms of their differences. How much are they motivated against ICE or how much specifically against immigration policy? But this is just an opportunity for left-wing extremists to try to exert their control over the country and to intimidate anyone there. So yes, this is domestic extremism and unfortunately, probably increasingly terrorism.
And we saw similar scenes that destruction, indiscriminate destruction of public property, private property, the looting, the arson during the BLM riots throughout America. And I would suspect there'd be a lot of the usual suspects involved in this as well. Tulsi Gabbard says this is organised largely. This isn't just some organic gathering of people who are upset. Do you see it that way? Do you see some organisation behind at least some of the violence we're seeing?
It's a combination. I mean, if you look at sort of the gear that these guys have, some of them are clearly professionals. They have fancy face masks, to deal with whatever the authorities are throwing at them. They know how to deal with a gas, canister thrown at them. Some of them we actually know specifically who they are. And they are part of an organization. They're career criminals, if you will. But a lot of it actually is organic. So whenever there is like
Yeah.
some kind of a left-wing extremist cause just blowing up, whatever the extremist cause du jour is on the left, you're going to get a lot of sympathizers who join in. That was true of Black Lives Matter. It's true of the global Antifada movement. That's how these guys roll.
Mm.
So, yeah, probably in the beginning, there's a very important role in terms of like the organization, in the leadership. But then you just have a whole bunch of angry people. You have weak control over the streets, and they're seizing the opportunity to stick it to the United States.